The legend lives on from the Chippewa on down at the big lake they call Gitchagumi. The lake, it is said, never gives up her dead when the skies of November turn gloomy. With a load of iron ore, 26,000 tons more than the Edmund Fitzgerald weighed empty. That good ship and true was a bone to be chewed when the gales of November came early. The ship was the pride of the American side, coming back from some mill in Wisconsin. As the big freighters go, it was bigger than most, with a crew and good captain well seasoned, concluding some terms with a couple of steel firms when they left fully loaded for Cleveland. Then later that night when the ship's bell rang, could it be the north wind they'd been feeling?
Oh yeah, now I'll pick them up. Fuckers hung in this long. You're gonna suck. It's a great song. It's always November. Fucking November.
The dawn came late and the breakfast had to
dawn came late on November. Sing another November.
When afternoon came, it was freezing rain.
It's all about one ship. I never knew a shipwreck could turn into a 6.5-minute song. Dude, I love the Lake Gitchagumi. I never heard of that before. I don't know what Lake Gitchagumi is. I don't know what lake he's talking about. Is it Erie, Michigan, Superior? I don't fucking know. What are you talking about, motherfucker? Gordon Lightfoot, help me out.
Gitchagumi. Maybe that's
Lake Gitchagumi. No, that's what the Indians call the lake that it happened on. But it was one of the Great Lakes.
Gotcha.
Yeah, obviously the Indians didn't call it Lake Erie, you know. They're not going to name it after some guy who found it, who, when they were already living there, which is hysterical. White people, I swear. I'm here, so I found it, but I'm already here. Bang!
They just miraculously named it, you know, after the guy who was going to come later on and then take over and shit, you know.
Yeah, only a couple hundred
thousand. Oh, this is Lake Erie. Well, that coincidence. I'm Pat Erie. How's it?
Holy shit, Hudson!
I guess I was just meant to take this over.
Hudson River. That's crazy. My name is Hudson. Hudson! Chris's favorite character in Aliens.
Oh, Jesus.
We gotta do Alien Covenant, motherfucker.
And you know what? I don't even, like, think about him when you say Hudson. I think of, like, fucking that cartoon Gargoyles from way back in the day. Because there's one character named Hudson. Like, they were all named after different parts of New York, like Brooklyn and Lexington and all that shit. And I thought about that because that kind of represses the memory of Hudson from Aliens, so that shit doesn't pop up when the word Hudson is brought up. That's right. I go back to a simpler time of my childhood and recall that memory and just drill that over 1,000 times, you know.
Well, I gotta figure some way to get, you know, the last 2 Prometheuses out of my fucking head. Oh my god. I bought one. I bought a DVD of the first Prometheus at Walmart because it was $3 and I was like, it was kind of worth that. I'll give it that.
You know what's funny though, when it comes to Prometheus or just that whole Alien franchise and everything, I've actually found a couple videos on YouTube. I forget what channels they're on, but they're actually videos that are like how it would have worked better. Like basically, it's like little things that could have been added to the movies that would have made more sense, you know, just logically with everything.
Recasting, maybe?
Also, it just would have it would have made the whole movie, like, I don't know, flow better, more understandable. Like, there were certain things that weren't.
Do you remember
explained.
an example by any chance? I'm just curious.
It was like a 15, 20-minute video, but it went into a lot of the engineers, and kind of like defining the engineers like as like their own culture. You know that there's different types of engineers. They're the engineers that, you know, were born and evolved the way they are or whatever, and then there's the engineers that were actually genetically modified by the originals, and those are the ones that we see in the spacesuits, and those are the ones that we see, you know, in the first Prometheus and everything. They're like a little bit bigger, you know, more defined muscle, but they're all almost identical kind of thing, almost like clones.
Teeny bit of an anger problem.
What? Well, I mean, that's part of it, though, is that yes, they have more aggression because that's going to be beneficial for them.
You woke me up! Boom!
You know, especially going into uncharted territories and encountering other alien species and all that.
It's true.
So, like, the video basically explained how if you had those two different factions, and if the genetic modified ones eventually felt superior to the other engineers or to any other life form in general, that they would use a biological weapon such as the xenomorph to go and wipe out other civilizations that they found were inferior to them, which would be every civilization, including the other engineers or original engineers, the,
you know what? Yeah.
What's it called? Humans, but also predators.
You know, interesting you said that, right? You know how Phoenix and I are doing the podcast. We just did like 3 podcasts on aliens, right? Well, he brought up during the next homework podcast that we do, right, for my pick. He asked, do you believe in aliens, right? And I'm like, to be honest with you, even if they did exist, I wouldn't want them here, because then they'd be the more superior race, and I don't want to be second, you know what I mean? Like, I don't want to be inferior race on the planet, you know? So even if they are here, I don't want to know about it. You know, and he was like, that's a good point. Yeah, I subscribe to that. Moving on.
No, with me, I'm fascinated by it.
I know you are.
Fascinated by it. Like,
that's why I brought it up.
It's one of those things where, well, like, first off, it's just fascinating because all of your what ifs are pretty much valid. Like, certain things are disproved by science. You know, that's illogical. You know, saying it's, you know, highly improbable that it's going to happen. But as far as, like, you know, intelligent life existing somewhere else, no, that's not, you know, impossible. It's just what's improbable is that we will have evidence of that in our lifetime anyway.
Oh yeah.
You know, in the future, if we stick around, there's always that possibility increases just because more time around to catch the evidence.
And like I always say, define life. Define life, you know, out there, right? Doesn't have to be little green men.
Well, remember, I said intelligent life.
I know you said intelligent life.
Now, as far as life outside of the planet Earth, that has been proven, yes. There are bacterias and you know, microbes or whatever that do exist in space. And
do you think in our own solar system?
What, the microbes and things like that exist?
That we'll ever find a specific species of life on another moon or planet in our solar system?
Are you talking something like beyond like single cell organisms, like something that's like at least an insect or creature of some kind? More than a fungus or bacteria.
Okay, fungus and bacteria have been on this planet since
something with a functional brain. Put it that way.
Okay, how about this? Something that has to reproduce to keep its species alive. Bacteria doesn't do that. Bacteria.
Well, no, it does. It does on a cellular level.
I'm talking about on
as an individual organism. Like, well, I mean, even still, for that to happen, it would need some type of brain. It would need some type of central nervous system.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying.
I mean, a jellyfish doesn't have a brain, but it has a central nervous system. So there you go.
It has some kind of control center.
Yeah.
So that's what we're saying. Like that basic life form is something that has some type of brain or some type of central processing that is how it lives. That tells it to go find food because you're hungry.
Yeah,
Reproduce because you're gonna die soon.
Exactly.
Move because that's hot. Like something like that.
Instincts, natural instincts.
In our solar system.
Yes.
Well, yes. I mean, I think that is possible based on the simple fact that we haven't explored all of our solar system. Something of that because I look at it's called a water bear. It's a small organism. And when you look at a microscope, it has legs and all that shit. That thing is able to survive the vacuum of space.
Crazy, right? Crazy, right?
It's able to survive in ice. You can freeze it solid, thaw it out, and it'll keep doing its thing and all that stuff. It reproduces and all that other kind of stuff. And that's something that's found, it can be found on Earth and all that. So in our solar system, yeah, there is that possibility. I mean, you got not planets, but moons like Titan that are supposedly all ice on the outside, but could be flowing water underneath.
Yeah.
Which means that it could have just been aquatic life that produced or whatever. There may be just enough.
The life on this planet,
today.
I would say, 70% of all the life on this planet's in the ocean, right? If you think about it. There's more species of life forms in the ocean than there are on land. I mean, just by average. I mean, because the planet's like 80% water or whatever it is.
Yeah, and I mean, then they say life began in the ocean.
And a whole lot of I think a lot of the life forms on this planet came from different asteroids bumping into this planet and depositing whatever it's got. Whatever. It's crazy.
There's so many theories exactly of how life got on this planet, how it got here, like everything like that. And
did you know the sun has a fucking orbit? I didn't know that. I thought the sun was like stationary and just spun, and then everything spun around it because it was so I didn't know
Well, no,
that's crazy.
I mean, our entire solar system
is moving.
Rotates,
Sure, of course,
around the center of the Milky Way. So,
yeah, sure.
Yeah,
but
I mean, everything's gonna have its own little movement.
It's crazy though, and then the other crazy thing is if you go to NASA.org, you can hear all the sounds that space probe that they sent to Saturn. Was it Saturn or Jupiter? Saturn, I think. And
they did send a probe to Jupiter, and I know the one probe that went to Jupiter,
it actually
went into the center or went through the surface or whatever. There is no surface. It just got to a certain point where the pressure got so intense it just crushed it.
Right, but my point being is when it passed the 7 times in between the planet and the rings, every time it went past all the rings, the sound waves that it was sending back was crazy.
Well, it's what it is. It's like the electromagnetic field that it's picking up, and they actually have to adjust that for you to hear it. Like if you were in space, you wouldn't hear that.
Well, of course not. No, you can't hear anything in space.
Yeah, they have to adjust it to make it so it's audible for humans. And yeah, it sounds like the stuff that you would hear in those 40s and 50s. Space movies, where you would see a guy in a cardboard suit and shit like that. Yeah, that kind of stuff. Yeah. It was real far out.
Yeah, it was crazy.
You don't do it.
Yeah, I know. It's just trying to say what I hear. Anyway, my point being is, pretty crazy shit. Anyway, that was they just turned a big blunder into something. Hey, might as well. We're gonna be fucked up anyway.
Well, I mean, it's out there. It is out there. It's something that they can record and they can demonstrate, just like the pictures that you see and everything else.
And here's something weird. Okay, the massive storm on Jupiter, right? The big red eye, right? We'll see it disappear in our lifetime when it's been going on for how many hundreds of thousands of years?
Yeah, I mean, they said it's been getting, it's been dissipating, as time has been going on. It's been getting smaller and smaller. And
in the last 200 years, it has 1/3, and then a third again. 3/3 of itself already.
I wouldn't be surprised if when that one stops, another one just pops up. Just right afterwards, really, that's what happens every 3,000 years. It just.
And here's the crazy thing. Saturn, Jupiter, and Neptune on their north and south poles, one of the poles, positive, negative, whatever one it is, I guess it would be the top, I don't know. But when they passed over it, you could see this hexagonal shape perfectly on the top of each planet. It's very weird, but I think it's because they're all gas planets and the way they spin, it's going to make something. But that's weird, because they always say nothing in nature is straight. So that's odd.
Yeah, but I mean, then again, that gets disproven here and there. I mean, because there's certain things that they find that have a straight edge or is geometrically right angle and this and that, and that
And that nature made it. I mean, maybe a river running past a rock, sure, but
well, I mean, you just gotta look at, like I said. I mean, it's probability. If you really take in the scope of everything, the entire universe, and all the different possible equations for things that happen.
Oh yeah.
There's one possible outcome where a straight line is left. Now, I mean, if it's a straight line that goes for billions of miles, that's suspect. But if it's one that's a couple feet long or whatever, or a rock that just happens to have a sharp edge, there's always that possibility. When it's one time. But when it's multiple times, or there's a pattern, that's where it's different. That's where you have to start asking your questions of, is this nature, or is this artificial, Is it naturally happening, or is something causing this to happen?
Fair enough. And I'll tell you, man, that one show that you showed me, it was before a Game of Thrones from last season, with DeGrasse Tyson. I watched like 4 other episodes. That dude will blow your freaking mind, and he'll make you feel so insignificant at the same time. Like, dude, after I'm done watching his show, like I'm just gonna go murder somebody. Who gives a fuck? I don't exist.
That's not the outcome that he wants. Like,
no, but it's exactly where I go. It's not. That's not really good. Thank God I have religion. So moving on. Anyway, that's a very sarcastic and backhanded joke. All right, moving on. Yeah, I said it. Game of Thrones, Chris. We haven't talked about it in a while.
Oh, God.
And there's been a few theories that I've heard from our favorite people. Namely Don of Ice and Fire at Don Willie on Twitter. Right. He's been on the show a few times. Me and him just kicking it the one night, dude. It was awesome.
I heard.
Right on. Yeah, I mean, normally we only talk Game of Thrones with him, but anyway, my point being, Kevin on them. So, okay. First off, okay, quick theory.
Okay.
The origin of Jaqen, right? I've heard a bunch of good theories, right? Now, think about it. If you wanted to ensure that Ned was killed, what was Peter Baelish doing? He was whispering in Joffrey's ear to do it, right? So,
well, no, not just Joffrey, Jaime as well, the Lannisters.
He was the sole manipulator behind everything, behind all of it.
Oh yeah,
right.
Yeah.
He was the master plan behind the rest of it. So, and he's the origins from Braavos. He knew how much Faceless Men cost, depending on what it was. He had knowledge of it already, right? Was Jaqen there as an insurance that Ned would be killed on the way to the wall if Ned's head didn't, go tumbling down the stairs?
No. I don't think that's why. I don't think that he would wait until they're on their way.
Why was he there?
Well, that's always been the question. Why was Jaqen in the prisons to begin with?
Exactly.
All right, but here's the thing.
We're talking 3rd level.
Here's the thing. If he wanted to ensure that Ned was going to die or anything like that, I mean, he could have did it prior to, and it would have caused more chaos. If he would have had Ned killed in the dungeons, that would have put Joffrey on suspicion. Now, being in the small council, he would have been on the inside of that suspicion. Now, he has a loose cannon, he can aim at anyone,
Yeah, but Littlefinger wanted Ned dead. Name one other person that could have gotten the Faceless Men there.
In all honesty, it's not. Well, yeah, he does want him. He wants him out of the way. Because
the wall wasn't good enough for him, I don't think.
Well, Ned being on the wall still accomplishes what he needs to accomplish. But remember, with Ned's infidelities or whatever, going to the wall, that might be enough that he can make the move in on Catelyn. Ned being dead enrages Catelyn. You know what I mean? It's going to make her fight. It's going to, if anything, that's going to make it kind of harder to get on her side, to bring her in. I mean, it did.
But you are thinking like a logical human being. We're talking about Littlefinger here.
Well, that's just it. Littlefinger is king of logic. I mean, that's how you play people, because you need to know what they're logically going to do and play off the action. That's how chess is played, right?
Yeah,
but based on logic.
But again, the fact still remains: a faceless man was in the cells by choice. Why?
Again, there could be other reasons. I mean, there's always been that theory that the person who was killed was not Ned, that it was somebody else, you know, who was wearing a different face. Yeah, so on and so forth.
Because didn't Ned get Syrio?
Yes, he did hire him.
So he's got a tie to Bravo somehow.
Yeah, I mean, he knows of the culture. The whole theory that Jaqen and Ned switch faces, and that the Jaqen we've seen is actually Ned Stark this whole time, bullshit. I do not think that's the case. Ned was never given that kind of training. There was no time for him to get that training and be able to pull off the things that Jaqen had pulled off, seeing what had happened with him in the fight in the courtyard. Alright? Jaqen's capable of killing like 8, 9 guys with no problem, sneakily, without raising alarm. You know? Ned was able to get sucker punched, or, you know, got sneak attacked by one of Jaime's guys in the leg.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
True.
The fighting style doesn't even match either.
True.
So there's no, that's bullshit. Now, why Jaqen was there? Why was he there? Could be a few reasons. He could have been there for the Iron Bank.
That was the only other like everything else and the Iron Bank. That's all that's there. That's all that can be there. That's all that it could be there. You know what I'm saying? It's either a whole Ned switcheroo, or it's a Littlefinger insurance policy, or it's a gold company thing. But then why would the gold company make him go into the freaking black cells to go to the wall? It doesn't sound like he's really upkeeping the golden companies, you know, what they need to do by being in A, the black cells, and B, a freaking cage of all things, going to a wall.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see, again, I'm not 100% sure why Jaqen was there. I mean, there's a few, like I said, a few theories. The Iron Bank is definitely one of them that does have, it has motive, it has logic, it's completely possible. I mean,
But it makes the least amount of sense if you think about it.
The Crown, they owed money. The Iron Bank is going to get their money no matter what. The Iron Bank and the Faceless Men do have ties. So sending Jaqen over there as a prisoner, that makes it very... I mean, look, we did see that he was unable to get out of the what's it called, that carriage or whatever, okay? But that doesn't mean that he wasn't able to freely move in and out of those dungeons.
That's what I mean. That's what I mean. Maybe he did get sent down so he can freely move throughout the Red Keep, because those dungeons are under the Red Keep. So... if he knows the ways around,
Varys was able to get in and out.
Exactly, and he's humongous. Varys and Illyrio Mopatis in the books, anyway.
So I mean, yeah, like there's a good possibility that he was in those dungeons as a spy, getting information for the Iron Bank to find out, you know, how they're going to get their money, if they're going to get their money, what the fuck is going on. I mean, I know, honestly. Syrio Farrell could have hired him to keep an eye on Ned, to make sure that no one kills him. That was part of the deal.
I like that. That's,
you know, that when Ned goes to Syrio and says, "I want you to train my daughter," and he kind of fills him in what's going on, that Syrio, you know, for whatever reasons, maybe just based on honor or whatever it could be, decides, hey,
the first sort of Bravos, come on,
do me a favor, keep an eye on this guy. He's in the dungeons. Make sure nobody goes down there and kills him, you know. And Jaqen was able to do that. But once it got on stage, there is shit that he can do there. So at that point, Jaqen
had to get the hell out.
Right. And knowing that, you know, Arya is who he has to take care of now, maybe those were the orders given to him by Syrio. Hey, watch out for Ned. Anything happens to Ned, watch out for her.
And that would fully explain why he took such a liking to her and no one else.
I mean, as far as we know, he could have been completely capable of getting out of there.
Of course he could.
But by having Arya do it, it immediately creates a connection between the two. Now I owe you. I owe you. Now I've created interest for you to seek me out.
Yeah.
There's no easier way for me to keep my eyes on you as if you're always watching me. So by doing that, he's able to establish that relationship, and then, you know,
that makes
gives her the way out.
that makes a lot more. That's a great theory, dude. I like that.
It's completely possible. Now, it
really is.
In all honesty, I honestly feel that we will not get the we won't get the answer to Jaqen in the show. We will in the show.
Have the books.
I don't think we're going to get the answer in the show simply because there's not enough time to really get into it. I mean, if you think about it, to think how the hell are you going to be able to tell the whole Jaqen story without like almost making its own episode? And we only have 6.
Well, it would fill in some time so we could actually believe they actually made it from one place to another in a timely fashion, like they should.
That's no longer an issue. It's it's whatever, that we jump forward a week or 2 weeks, whatever's got to happen. That's what happens. It is what it is. But again, with the whole Jaqen story, I just don't think that the show has enough time to really dive into that and to give you where he started before he was a faceless man, or even if we start at the beginning of Game of Thrones, what his story was. If it does get answered, it would be verbally, and it would be quickly. It would be the only way it would happen is if Arya and Jaqen have some kind of reunion. If they have some kind of reunion, and during that reunion, he reveals to her, like, I've always been watching out for you. Like, this is why I've followed you, or this is why it all happened, and everything, like, this is why I let you leave.
The Syrio connection to Jaqen is so on the nose by what he says to her, There's only one God and the girl knows his name, right? Well, there's only one other person that's ever said that to her. But then again, it could be a very common saying in Bravos.
In Bravos, yes. I mean, a lot of them,
and if you were taught by the first order of Bravos, you had to have taught that.
Well, Bravos has many religions. It does have many religions.
Sure.
But one of them that is, predominant is the God of Death, the House of Black and
They
White.
accept all religions, but at the end, every religion ends with the same face.
Well, no, the House of Black and White, they worship the God of Death, which has many faces, yes. But it's not that they accept everyone's religion. They feel as if everyone's religion is basically worshiping the same thing, but a different face of it. You guys are all worshiping what we worship. You're just worshiping the different face that it wears and how you see it. But it's all the God of Death. So it's not that they acknowledge the other ones and we accept them all. It's just we're the base, we're the core. Everything else is just dressed up fancy and all the other kind of shit. But behind the face is the God of Death, or the God has.
It's so symbolic too, because when do most people, try to,
find religion?
Yeah, is after
when you're
after death.
With adversity, for adversity. And,
I'm just saying a lot of times after
mortality.
Somebody. Exactly.
So, I mean, yeah.
Very symbolic of George.
And that's the thing is a lot of people in Bravos, they go there. They go there, they receive the gift or whatever, this and that. So, Syrio knowing that phrase and all that stuff, that's not out of place or anything like that. Well, I mean, it is 100% possible that Syrio Forel is a faceless man. That is 100% possible. And that Syrio Forel, quotations, is one of his faces or characters.
Or is Jaqen to begin with?
That is also a possibility simply based on the fact that they've never been on screen together. We haven't seen them.
Well, no.
We haven't seen them together, nor have we seen them. See, they don't even. It's not even being on screen together, but like both in two separate places right after each other, like within scenes of each other, basically showing there's no way that this person could have got to here. Like, he can't be the same person. You couldn't have traversed that place. You know what I'm saying? If you think about it, if you really think about it, we don't see Jaqen until after Serial's dead.
Yeah, quotations, yeah.
I mean, if you really think about it, Serial Pharrell does not show up until after, or Jaqen doesn't show up until after Serial Pharrell is dead.
And where apparently was he killed? In the Red Keep.
Right. Which could explain why he was in the dungeons.
Exactly.
Now
That's a great point, dude. I love it. That makes the most sense right there. Boom.
You know, I mean, it could have been how Serial Pharrell was able to get away. He was able to change faces, and they thought he was a prisoner or, you know, a deserter or something like that.
I mean, whenever the Faceless Men need information, where they go, the Citadel together, right? So they have to have, you know, the Red Keep, one of the most famous buildings in the freaking world. They have to have blueprints
Now that
of all
I
it.
think about it,
You know what I mean?
I don't think Game of Thrones would be on that nose about it, but I wonder, like, what was Jaqen wearing when we first seen him compared to, like, what was Serial wearing, or even not what was Serial wearing, but what could Serial have changed?
It was that yellow freaking shirt.
What, Jaqen?
Yeah, they both had it on. It was like a yellowish
Well,
shirt.
I remember Serial with, like, some blue, but I could be wrong. But no, I mean, even still, like, that's something that, you know, to research,
Sure.
to see, because I don't think Game of Thrones would be that on the nose that they would both be wearing the same clothes and no one pick up on that. I think that would have gained legs a long time ago. But there's always that possibility that Serial Pharrell, you know, was able to use his face changing ability to escape, you know, that room full of guards, and found, you know, or hid out in the dungeons as a way to
It makes the most sense because it's
not just escape King's Landing, but also as his way to keep an eye on Arya.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and like that was the most important thing to him.
Because whatever got him in the dungeons or whatever he was at, you know, it couldn't have been anything major. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because you get sent to the wall for, you know, some stuff that is serious. You know, the wall can save you from death, but you could also, you know, get sent to the wall for doing the crimes that you couldn't pay for or whatever it was, or multiple crimes, or, you know, stuff like that.
Glorified penal colony, right?
Huh?
Glorified penal colony.
Yeah, so we don't even really know exactly, you know, what Jaqen was in being sent to the wall for.
Well, I think Euron went down there because Ned gave him permission to recruit new members, so Euron went down there.
You sure Euron is his name? Or?
It's really close to Euron, or it's almost identical.
Yeah, I forget. I know you're talking about, but I forget the guy's name.
Yeah, he's the guy that Arya bumped into right before Ned's head went.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and he.
Like, come with me, boy. Come with me.
Exactly. Yeah. But his name is Euron or Euron. It's really close. Maybe a slight influx of one of the letters, but it's really close to Euron Greyjoy. And it screwed me up a couple times. And by the way, Cyril was wearing like a greenish thing.
I thought it had like some kind of color to it.
Yeah, and Jaqen's been in, if he wasn't in Lannister red armor, he's been wearing just this gray shit. So there you go.
So I mean,
but with a really sexy blonde right there. Yep, and auburn hair. Oh God. Anyway, moving on. Renly's hot too. Well, no, moving on. I mean,
really, dude.
I'm kidding. He just happened to be on IMDb or my Google. So anyway, let me get off of Google now. So anyway, anyways, so dude, I like that theory. I like it a lot. I do. Okay, so next one up. All right, you've had enough time to think about it. Final thoughts on Tyrion's look as he's watching the door of, you know, the whole Just weirdness.
My whole theory or interpretation has never changed on that. I honestly think that his look of concern, I guess you would say, there's only two things that it could be. It's a look of concern because he's afraid that this relationship between Jon and Daenerys could fuck his plans up.
What's his plans?
His plan is to overthrow Cersei. He wants Cersei off the Iron Throne. He wants, Dany there. I don't even necessarily think it's so much like that he is diehard, I want Dany on the throne. But Cersei has to go. And if something happened to Dany, no, he wouldn't want that, but Jon would make a suitable king. But it doesn't remove the fact that Cersei has to go.
Well, so would Dany, I would argue.
What?
She would make a suitable queen.
Yeah, I mean, she would too. But I'm just saying that what's important to Tyrion is Cersei being overthrown, Cersei being dealt with, her not being given power. That's more important than it being Dany on the throne.
No matter what, Cersei always gets what she wants.
Why do you think Tyrion talked about successorship? He's acknowledging the fact that, that she might not be on the throne when this is all said and done. And he's acknowledging the fact that even if that doesn't happen, success, what needs to happen is Cersei's still got to go. So, I mean, right there, he's telling you exactly what his focus is, what is most important to him, his priority.
I think it's deeper than that, though.
It's what it is that, like I said, Jon and Daenerys being together endangers that. It endangers that. It adds an element of that something, it could get fucked up. Because we've already seen Dany make a move or make a decision based on emotion and her feelings for Jon that wasn't strategically sound. And that was before they started fucking. Now they fucking. And that's just going to make that feeling even stronger. So she's going to take even greater risk to save Jon if he gets himself into some type of situation. And vice versa. Something happens to Dany, Jon will do the same. And that's why I turned Dany, or Tyrion.
It almost got Jon killed with freaking Rickard.
Yeah, I mean, how many times has Jon... Well, Jon has actually got killed once.
Oh, that's
but
true.
How many times has he almost got killed a bunch of other times? So, I mean...
Davos saved his ass there.
So, I mean, with Jon, yes. Is he going to put himself in harm's way? You damn well know he is.
Because he's dumb as a brick.
Right. Will Dany go to save him? She already proved that she would. And now that she loves him, she's definitely going to go even further for him.
I'm going to go one step further. See, you're on the right track, but you can go one step further that you're not even seeing.
What?
All right. What happens before all that? All right, Dragon Pit scene, right? Cersei storms off like the country that she is. All right. Tyrion goes up there to talk to her. The last thing that he says is, "You're pregnant." I doubt that was the end of their goddamn conversation. So he makes a deal with her. That's your successor in your belly, right? Tyrion does have this inner thing to keep the Lannister line going, right? So he makes a deal with her. I'll convince Dany not to kill your fucking kid, because you will lose this war. And when you do, you know how it goes. Not only you, but that kid's dead too. I'll make sure it's not, right? And whatever. But now Dany having a kid, he's going to be hard pressed to convince her not to kill the just like Robert wanted to kill Dany when she was a kid.
No, I don't think that would be it, because Cersei having a child does not affect Dany and Jon having a child in any kind of way. What's going to happen is when the Great War's over, no matter what, Danny would have the advantage. She's going to have the North, and she's going to have her army. That's the whole reason Cersei wanted him to sit it out. He wanted him to sit it out. You know, she thinks that her not sending anybody and just letting them go run off to the North by themselves will be enough to wipe them all out, and she'll be able to pick up the pieces.
She's really not going that extra step where now the whole army that she didn't help win lost, and now is coming to kill her. Yeah.
But even still,
and they're dead.
Even still, I don't think that Cersei's baby is threatened by Dany or Jon. Neither of them are
Should
like
be.
that. No, they're not like that.
Dany might be.
No. Why? Why would that kid have any threat? It's not a legitimate heir to the throne. On two levels. One, because Targaryen, in her eyes, is legitimate heir. What army does this baby have?
Her eyes are the rest of the Westeros' eyes.
She doesn't need to kill the baby. And the only reason that Westeros would think anything is because Cersei's forcing. She took that fucking throne, but that doesn't mean everybody recognized her.
It wasn't
as
right
queen.
It wasn't right by conquest. There was no one left.
Which that's what I mean. She took it by just eliminating all competition. There was no one else. She
No
got
one
it
there
by
to
default.
oppose her.
You know
Right.
what I mean? So
Yeah.
even still, like that kid.
It's like running for Senate unopposed.
The kid poses no threat to no one but Cersei.
Yeah, but don't you think it does matter to some degree to Tyrion on a family, personal, blood level?
Well, of course, I mean, if anything,
He
like,
loved their kids.
well, yeah, but even still, Dany has no reason to kill the child. The child's not in danger. The child's
She's
only
still
in danger.
Targaryen.
Who?
Dany.
And
She has been very, fire and blood lately.
and
I'm just saying.
she killed the
Okay.
killed the Tullys because
Okay,
they
who killed the
elected to.
Martells? Who killed Martells and the Aegons? It wasn't any of the top guys. It was the soldiers.
What do you mean? Wait.
When Tywin sacked King's Landing for Robert, and they killed Aegon and the
Right, but again,
Right.
you're dealing with different people. They were on orders from Tywin.
That's true. Well, I don't think did Tywin ever
Order the
admit
kids to be killed? Yes.
he did. Okay,
That's what I'm
he
saying.
did
like,
in that one scene with the Red Viper, didn't he? He said something, then he offered.
No,
to
he
see
said
it.
I raped her, I murdered her.
Well,
whatever.
that was the mountain. I'm talking about Tywin himself. I think he actually sort of admitted to it, but then backed off and like.
I mean, I think he just admitted the fact that that guy was one of his men, but I don't think he copped to the fact that he ordered them to sack and murder and all that stuff. But either way, Cersei's kid is not in danger. It's only in danger being in Cersei's belly and whatever stupid shit she does. That kid's in danger from Cersei and Cersei alone. So, Dany and Jon getting together does not affect that in any kind of way. If Tyrion, if that look has to deal with anything, it would have been a deal that he made with Cersei to betray Dany, which I don't think is the case because that's a real illogical move. Now you're putting your chips in the side that you already don't think can win.
Let's explain to me this. What made Cersei go back out there with Tyrion, and she was all different. We'll fight with the North.
Because
What did they say?
her plan to not send the people.
Yeah, but Tyrion. Do you think Tyrion knows that?
Tyrion doesn't know that. Tyrion knew that. He would already have told Dany. He's like, look, it's bullshit.
But my point is, what we saw was not going to make Cersei go back out there and claim her armies for them.
What could have happened was between Tyrion and Cersei was a conversation of, if you really care about this child and you want this child to live, this is what needs to happen. You know, if you want any kind of future, you help us here, and then she'll be able to show you mercy, give you Casterly Rock. Let you live your days out with your children, you and Jaime, whatever the case, plead through a sense of peace, for that child, or that sense, because if you don't do that, this shit's gonna come and it's gonna kill us all, and you're gonna lose that kid anyway. So it's either you help us and you got a shot at this, or you don't help us and we all die. She uses
Why couldn't we have solved that though?
Because it's just more dialogue. We don't need to.
Fair enough. It was just so fast, dude. And you know that whole feeling like when you really want something bad, you don't care how you get it, and you don't think about it.
Even still, her reason for changing her mind or whatever isn't really relevant to the fact that she goes back on it. So whatever the fuck was said, she already had it in her mind. Okay, I'll agree. We'll all go up north or whatever, and fight the long night and all this kind of stuff and all that shit. And, I'll tell them that. This way everybody goes forward. But then I'll just sit back. They'll all go murder themselves. And I'll be back in King's Landing with my army. And I'll be safe. Me and my child. So, knowing that in her head, it's really easy to agree to this plan to play ball.
Fair enough. That makes sense.
So, like, because
I guess you don't need all that, like the whole Tyrell takeover.
You gotta remember, like, that whole episode, there was a lot of stuff jammed in it. The whole season had a lot of stuff jammed in it. I mean, we moved pretty quickly with a lot of things.
You think season 8's going to be even worse?
I don't know. It all depends, because, I mean, like...
Well, they did narrow down the cast, thank God.
It all depends, because we're much more focused. We're much more focused. I really do hope we get an episode of White Walker history, some type of, what's been going on.
They gotta be gray, dude. They can't be just pure evil. There has to be a gray to it.
I mean, that's the way Martin writes his character, so you would assume so. But again, it all depends on what their focus is and what they want to do. I mean, that might be something that's revealed at the very, very end. After whatever happens, like after they're all wiped out and you're like, yeah, you're fucking dead. And then you find out that no, they're actually the victims. So, that could be the bittersweet ending. Is that they were the ones that, who really should have survived, and that was the way it was supposed to be. Don't know. I mean, that's just something that we're going to wait to see. And I don't really want to speculate too much or whatever, because I don't want to get myself all subscribed to something and then it be something different and me be let down. Yeah. And it be a good ending. Like, that's the thing that sucks, is that you don't want it one way so much that when you're given something that's just as good, you can't accept it or you can't enjoy it because you were so set on this other way. So I think by keeping my prediction or my theory as to how this all ends and all that kind of stuff, I think by keeping it open, I give myself the best chance to enjoy what it actually ends up being. Because we are going to have a definitive answer. We're going to get that season. It's going to come out. We're going to see it. So I know that my question is going to be answered, so I can leave it as a question. I have some type of date to look forward to. In the meantime, of course, I'm going to wonder and try to put things together and stuff like that. But I'm staying away from the whole locking down theory and this is what it's going to be and all that kind of stuff, because like I said, that's when you start to really get your hopes up on something, and then you could be let down.
And then you get like this thing in your head that it is, and then you just will not back down from it.
Well, I mean, like,
you start coming up with these crazy ideas of how you can make it right.
Look at what Arya. All right, when she was in Bravos, and we had that whole she was leaving the House of Black and White. For that episode, we, before it happened, we already speculated and theorized how it was going to happen, what was going to go down, and everything like that. Some of our theories were, on point and happened. Some of them, no, they didn't happen at all.
No.
And I noticed it then that, even though the ones that were right, it was like, I saw it coming, all that. The ones that were wrong, there was still that sense of like, man, I really thought it was going to be this, or just that sense of like, what if it was this? And then, like I said, that's when you start not accepting it.
There's people that will not accept R plus O equals J, and it just boggles my mind.
It's some people they can't let go of certain things. Like, that's just what they built their whole...
Yeah, they wanted it to be so
around.
true, right?
Yeah, it's...
All right, last question.
Go ahead.
All right. The Littlefinger killing, right? The quote-unquote trial, right? Didn't Sansa just need to say, by the way, he killed my Aunt Liza. I saw him. Arya, family member, throat please. Like,
well,
that's all she needed. Did Bran really need to do his beep boop bop boop beep boop past?
okay. Well, here's the thing: is if by using Bran's warging abilities, we got that particular outcome. If she would have said whatever about Liza, doesn't that kind of make her an accomplice? Or
well, she did say it.
Is there any kind of way that could fall back on her?
I mean, she did lie, because they did ask her. She said she was there when it happened, and she did lie to protect him. So, and during the whole thing, she did mention he killed her.
But again, by saying that, it implicates her, right?
Yeah.
So here you have it. You have two evidence A, evidence B. Evidence A implicates me. Evidence B does not. Which do you use?
Yeah, but you can't put so much stock into a tree in a chair. People are going to look at it kind of
now
tilt.
wait. You, or are we talking about the characters?
Okay, fair enough. There are dragons in this story. Moving on.
But that's the thing is, again, you can't apply your own world that you live in.
Like, I was just thinking to myself, I think the Liza, because really, what outweighs the bad? Did she implicate herself? Sure. But she could just say she was scared, he was threatening to kill her. If she didn't say that, he did have a lot of control over her at the time. She was just a kid.
But do you see how much more thought and process that you have?
Who cares? The motherfucker's dead.
But no, here's the thing. But do you see how much you have to, say I'm this, blah, blah. How about we just avoid all of that and Bran does his thing?
Did you like it?
What?
The Littlefinger killing, was it satisfying?
Yeah, I mean, it was a long time coming. It was definitely.
Oh yeah, he deserved it, no doubt.
And it was in true Game of Thrones fashion. Like, it wasn't off camera. It wasn't, it
was just straight to the point.
Like a stab in the gut where you can't really tell. Like, no, a slit across the throat, blood gushing the fuck out, dead as fuck on the floor. And just,
while she's using his own words against him, I loved it.
And just his whole backpedaling and just, please, and trying every single thing that he could do,
he was grasping at straws, like, oh no, I'm out of straws.
and yeah, I mean, that's exactly what it was, so that's what was satisfying about it, was that it was something that was a long time coming. The people behind it, they owed him. Yeah.
So yeah.
On all aspects, it was absolutely great. I mean, the only thing that you really could ask for more was that it was more vicious, just because of the horrible things that Littlefinger has been behind.
Yeah, he deserved to go out worse, I'd say.
But again, they're doing it in a more official, legal, I guess, way you could say. So you can only,
for the time, yeah.
I mean, you get your revenge, but you can't ruin your reputation at the same time.
They did it right, yeah. And it was just satisfying to see the Starks finally get something back, because that family's been destroyed.
Yeah, I mean, since season 1, they've been taking L's. The only one that was really, I mean, there was a time period when Robb was actually getting momentum with his, rebellion. But
and then he found his Dany.
But then, he obviously, the Red Wedding, put an end to that. Arya, she has been surviving, but it hasn't been easy. It's been a struggle. I mean, she's had her own hardships as well. Sansa suffered a lot. She suffered a lot. Same thing, like, well, Bran's been on a journey, but it hasn't been easy. Like, really, the only one who got, like, a real, basically started getting the self-gratification, or just started getting, like, shit turning around for him and, like, the ball rolling first was Jon. After he came back to life, that's when he, first of all, he was Lord Commander of the Night's Watch prior to that.
Yeah.
So, he went from a bastard who was nothing to
a steward.
Lord Commander. Right.
Yeah.
So he already started, turning things up. It did get him killed. That sucks. But afterwards, he came back, he straightened that shit out, and ended up becoming King of the North. So, yes, I'm not saying that he's had an easy road, but he's got the most wins for the family. Everybody's been taking L's. They all have.
Oh, they've been,
But the first
getting their
one,
teeth knocked out, yeah.
The first one to really actually start getting some wins for the Stark family was Jon.
Yeah. But there's a reason for that. He's not exactly like the rest of them.
Well, yeah, there's a really good argument that a lot of
everything Targaryens do, they're good at, right?
Obviously, everything with Jon has been destined. Who knows? His destiny might take him all the way to the end, or may take him to where at least it finishes the war. I don't know. I really don't know. There's a lot of there's a lot of speculation and a lot of theories and just a lot of possibilities of what could happen. People are gonna die. A lot of motherfuckers are gonna die.
I asked Don Willie this. It was the quickest answer I ever got. Will Cersei make it to the end of season 8?
No.
He was like, no.
No. There's only a very slim chance that she does. And that would be in a scenario where, how I had said, that her helping, in this fight against the North or the Night's King,
which she's not, yeah,
basically earns her some kind of pardon, Queen's pardon.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you're a piece of shit, so like we're gonna strip you of title and everything like that. But it may not even be Casterly Rock. They may give her just some little farmhouse.
Harrenhal, I hope. She'll be dead in a year.
It could just be that, and that be justice. You know what I'm saying? Like,
hey, Littlefinger, Harrenhal.
And technically, how this ends, none of them could fucking survive season 8. Because if this ends as a story being told in the future by young Samwell Collie, or even further down the line, that means they're all fucking dead now. At some point, they all died. And you might get that
is that the bittersweet? You get everybody died, but they all died different.
You get the story of what happened with each and every one of them, and all that kind of stuff. You know what I mean?
Kind of like Tombstone. Everybody died at the end. That's because they would have been 150 years old if they weren't.
Yeah. So you actually could get a complete wrap up where you do know how all of it ends for every character. That some characters are going to die during the course of season 8. But it could be in that last 20 minutes that we find out that.
I don't think it'll be any of the Starks. I'm going to say that right now. I don't think it'll be any more of the Starks. I think they suffered enough. It won't, and it won't be. It won't be what's his face. It won't be Theon, because he would have been dead by now if it was gonna happen. Dany, I think, will. Cersei will. Jaime definitely will. Jaime's definitely going to die, I think, by restoring his honor, by sacrificing himself for the better good of something. Probably Jon or somebody. Who knows? For all we know, he might even know the truth. He was Kingsguard at the time. Not for nothing. Anyway, moving on. Never thought about that, did you?
Well, no, because he was with the Mad King. Rhaegar was on his own. They were kind of separate factions, because Rhaegar, the original reason Rhaegar had that tournament was to overthrow his father.
Okay, but your hero, and then 4 or 5, however many of the books in the show, I don't know, I forget numbers, but his hero, and then all the other higher ups that he regarded, all of a sudden they go south because Rhaegar told them to. Like, of course they're gonna talk.
There's no telling that they told Jaime that. You know what I mean? Especially if they're like sworn to secrecy.
I think it's a brotherhood. Like it's a real tight knit community. And
Yeah, but
people
that's,
talk.
even still, it's going against the King Guard.
And he's got a lot of secrets to hide, so...
Trust me, if that were the case, he would have had John killed a while ago. He would have burned that card a long time ago.
Why?
A long time ago.
What would he have to gain for it?
What, John being the heir to the throne?
Well, yeah, but Jamie knowing John doesn't know that, and then he just took the black, I mean...
It still wouldn't even still, he would have had him killed a long time ago. You know what I mean? Or
Then
at
he
least
should have killed Master Aemon too.
or he would have told his father a long time ago. And Tywin would have used that at some point. There's no way Tywin would have just said, I'm going to let that sit for a while and see how that shit pans out. There's no fucking way. So no one knew.
Fair enough.
You know, it's not like they're on
Or
cell
maybe
phones
there was
anything.
just that little bit of mercy between all the characters in the story of John. In the beginning.
No, I think there's a higher chance of him just not knowing, and that's why he's never acted on it, than Jamie knowing that, and that just being the one thing that he honored forever.
The last 7 seasons, I've been trying to come up with someone other than the tree and fucking what's his face over in the neck. The only 2 people on Earth that know the truth about John.
Alan Reed?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can never get his goddamn
Well, it's
name.
not just Alan
But I know
Reed.
he's in the neck. I know
It's
that
not
much.
just Alan Reed anymore.
But who
Because
else?
Bran knows.
Well, yeah, but he's the tree. See.
And Samwell Tully knows. Samwell's the one who backed up the fact that there was a marriage.
Now,
See,
and that screwed me up. Why the hell didn't Bran know about the damn annulment? Seems like kind of a big deal.
because Bran didn't even know about this. Remember, Bran doesn't know how to use his powers.
Oh,
He isn't
right.
all-knowing.
You're right. You're right.
He isn't all-knowing.
But
He's
you
not
can path.
all-seeing. Now, he knows what he's going to go look for. It's different. That's why he was able to go see the ceremony when it did happen. The annulment and everything, that might not have been a ceremony. That might have just been the paperwork that he had to write up.
It was done in secret.
You know, whatever. I mean, like I said, it might not be a ceremony that they do at a weirwood tree.
And they
It
didn't do it in the
just could
face
have
of the Seven.
You
In
know,
the South,
they
there was
take
no
that
werewolves.
ribbon thing and they cut it up or some shit like that.
Yeah.
So, him not knowing about the annulment, that makes sense. Him not knowing about the marriage, that makes sense too. Him knowing about the birth and everything, he was there. He had a pinpoint place to go to.
That's what I mean. Like, you know, when I work every day, I don't really know what I'm doing until I get there and people point me in the right direction. Right? There you go.
So, I mean, like I said, Samwell knew as well. But Samwell didn't know that made the connection to John, that was relevant to John's story. He just knew that Rhaegar got an annulment and then married a mystery woman or whatever. You know,
Wouldn't her
he
name
knew-
have to be on there?
What?
Wouldn't Elia or whoever the fuck she is, you know, wouldn't her name have to be on the annulment papers or the wedding certificate?
Not the annulment paper.
What about the wedding certificate? Oh, I guess there isn't one.
May not be. It may have been, like I said, it was a secret ceremony. Her name was hidden for purpose. That was
Sure.
how they kept John out of the limelight and everything like that.
Sure. I'm just trying to think of any other character that would know, other than, you know, I mean, because you figure, okay, and then I know I kept saying the last question, but this is literally the last question. When John finds out, will he A, say, keep your fucking mouth shut, no one else knows that, and no one else will ever know that. I am what I am right now. Nobody else needs to know that. That will cause so many damn problems, and that I don't even want. Okay, I didn't want to be king of the North to begin with, nor do I want to be king of everything the fuck else. You know, and plus, you know, I mean, John's not stupid. I mean, he doesn't know Dick, but you know what I mean, that's just a metaphor because he obviously didn't know his mom was. My point being is,
You're rambling.
my point being is here. Okay, A, John says, forget about it. That's okay. Fine. I'm a Targaryen. Don't tell anybody. Keep it to ourselves, since this is my inner group here, right? Because who would be telling him? Sam, Bran, his family, right? That's who would tell him first.
Well, Sam and Bran are the ones who know. They're the ones who would tell John.
Yeah, and as far as Arya and Sansa know, Bran just needs to talk to John. That's all he said. But we don't know that they don't know that Bran knows, because we didn't know that Bran knew about Littlefinger.
You're getting confusing. They're not aware of Jon's true lineage.
Okay.
Sansa and Arya.
Right. It's just Bran and Sam. And, well, Howland Reed and his daughter now, too. Pretty much. But his daughter has left the building. Okay, so, I'm sorry. Multiple question. A, Jon dismisses it, says don't bring it up. B, Jon embraces it, all of a sudden changes, right? And now him and Daenerys go at it because Daenerys wants the throne, he's got the better claim. Or C, Jon lets everybody know about it. He becomes king of nothing, right? And supports Daenerys like he always has. People still follow him because he's a strong leader. And Daenerys takes the throne. Which one of the three outcomes are more probable?
I think, if anything, with Jon, when I don't think he's gonna do the whole, deny it or whatever, any of that stuff. I think, if anything, what's gonna happen with Jon is that when he finds out the fact that he finally knows who his mother is what's gonna hit him. That's what's gonna be. That's going to be the thing, is that he's going to finally know who his mother is. And he does know his mom, because his mom, he's heard stories of her growing up from Ned and so forth. But, so, like, I think that's what's going to hit for him, is the fact that, like, he finally knows who his mother is. All the stories that he's heard of Leon and everything like that he can say, like, that was my mom and all that shit. I think that's going to be, like, his first initial feelings and what he's going to grab with. Then it's going to be the coming to the realization that Ned's not his father and that Rhaegar is his father. I think, it's the same. He's going to process everything like he finally knows who he really is. You know what I mean? Like, because that's something that he's always wrestled with. He's always had to, like, tell himself that he's a Stark. And it wasn't until recently he accepted himself as a Stark. But now he's going to find out that he's much more than Stark, that he's also all this other stuff, and he's still along that path of, finding himself and finding out who he is. I don't think he's going to use it and try to say, well, I guess that makes me the heir to the throne or anything like that. I don't think it's going to change anything as far as the game plan with the fighting the White Walkers and, Daenerys being the heir to, or being the ruler of Westeros and being queen and everything like that. He's never wanted it. This isn't going to make him want it. If anything, this could affect their relationship because now they're aunt and nephew.
Yeah.
That
bit creepy.
That could be a factor. It also could not be a factor because it's something that was normal in the Targaryen household.
But not Stark.
But he is Targaryen.
But he's Stark too.
And it's not like she feels like his aunt.
And I don't think he feels like her nephew.
You know what I mean? Like, so, it's...
He feels like her king right now. Oh, you know what I'm saying? Oh, gave her the staff.
I really wish he didn't.
Way off topic
we
radio.
have a good conversation and it's just trash can.
Come on,
But
see, I just want to elaborate on your answer because there's one question you didn't answer. Will he tell the rest of everybody, or will he keep it between... Okay, he finds out who he is. Great, grand, wonderful, awesome. He gets to share that with his family and the closest ones to him. The ones that look out for him would never, deceive him. If he says it stays between us, it stays, right? Will he choose that, or will he choose to let everybody else know?
I mean, it depends. I think if anything, he's going to let the close ones know. Dany will know. Tyrion would know. Sansa, Arya. Of course, they're going to know because they're family. I'm
talking about
they're going to know.
Sir Wilmore Royce.
Now you're talking public.
Yeah, I'm talking Westeros wide.
That will depend on how Dany and Jon are going to move forward. if they decide to move forward together as king and queen, husband, wife, they may decide not to. Just keep him a Stark, what everybody thinks he is, and leave it at that, because that unites Starks and Targaryens. You don't need to do it all in one person. You know what I mean?
Which has never happened before, by the way. Starks.
Of course, it hasn't. But anyway, you know what I'm saying? Like the union of the two of them accomplished what he as himself would accomplish. If things change, I don't know. I mean, I think that they won't be public. It's not going to be something they're going to release publicly until after the war with the Night's King. And I think because of the Night's King, Dany will probably be dead, or Jon will be dead. So it won't even be a factor at that point.
Okay, fair enough.
So it may be something that they just don't have to deal with, because when that bridge comes, only one's going to be there across it.
Fair enough. And like I kind of feel the same way. Like, there's no reason to tell everybody if Jon doesn't want to go any more forward with it. You know what I mean? There's no reason to tell the whole realm.
Yeah,
what's,
I mean,
what's it going to accomplish?
It's really because,
however,
in honesty, like, no one's cared.
He's honest, he's honorable, and if people are going to follow him, I bet you that asshole will go, if they're going to follow me, they should better know who they're following. And he'll go out there and tell everybody, you know, oh, a goddamn dragon.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's especially if he ends up riding a dragon, because that's, you know,
he already, you know, caressed one.
Well, I mean, that's,
got the second base with Drogon.
Like, you know, he's going to have to explain some of it or whatever. I mean, if it comes down to that he needs to tell people, he'll tell people. You know, that's just it. If he has to say it, he'll say it. Excuse me, but I don't think that it's something that they're going to put out to the public. You know, because it doesn't need to be put out to the public like that. Just to the inner ones who need to know will know.
That's what I think. Yeah. I hope anyway. But knowing Jon, he'll do something dumb.
I mean, I hope
that's not political at all.
I hope it doesn't fuck them up in any kind of way. I mean, not so much as the
See,
you know, the now we need to fight for the throne kind of thing, because it wouldn't be in Jon's character to fight for the throne, but fuck them up in a sense of like
it would be his bloodline
family.
It would be in his bloodline to fight for the throne, Dance of the Dragons now.
I don't think that's the case. It's no.
Why does the story exist then?
That story was existing for other reasons, to give you a history of the dragons and also the Targaryens.
Which by the way, on YouTube is read by Mormont.
And remember, Dance of the Dragons, those kind of stories and things like that, those are also in the book, which the book has other things going on. You know, Griff and the possibility that there may be other Blackfires and all that other shit.
Yeah.
The show doesn't really have it, so it doesn't really feed into that so much, you know? Right. It just gives you a little bit more history and things that have happened in this world. Again, like I said, I just don't think that's the case. I think if it fucks them up in the fact that they're now related and it's weird between them, I guess. You know, their feelings for each other and all that kind of stuff. But I don't know. It's not the same as if Dany and Viserys was messing around. They didn't grow up together. Like, Jon and Dany didn't grow up together. Like, in all seriousness, like, them being related is just somebody telling you something.
Yeah.
There's no memory. There was no family connection.
Yeah.
So, I mean, and in all honesty, it's like, even though, like, we know it's true, how much do they believe it? You know, or whatever.
And like, no matter what, Ned was Jon's father, no matter what. So.
I mean, he raised him, yes.
Exactly. So there you go. I mean, you know, family is who's around, right?
Yeah. So I mean, them being blood related and everything like that, like on a genetic level, like yes, like that's all right. But,
you run the risk of having a baby with a tail.
That's something from our world. Their world, something different. So I don't think it's gonna fuck them up or anything like that. I think though it may possibly give Varys a reason to betray Dany, or you know, who knows? I really don't think they can do the whole Varys, you know, young Griff thing. There's no time. No time. I don't know what that's
Varys.
Obviously gone.
Yeah.
I think if anything, I could see how that information getting out could take Varys and anyone who may feel similar to him, or at least, maybe Melisandre, could think that, Jon is the heir to the throne. He is Azor Ahai. He is the guy. Dany's a distraction. We need to remove her. She needs to be his niece and Nisa. He may not have to drive a sword through her heart, but she may have to be sacrificed so that her soul may be infused with Jon so that he can do what needs to be done and save the realm. It could be that metaphor.
Now, I have a different metaphor. Lyanna Stark was niece and Nisa, and Jon is Lightbringer. Boom.
That's possible. I mean, I've heard of the whole Lightbringer not being a sword and actually being a person and everything like that.
And the whole story is
I did hear about the whole Rhaegar was actually Azor Ahai, and that he brought Jon into the world and his love. Like, yeah, I know, I've heard that.
And he was very well read, Rhaegar was very smart man.
No, but see, even so, even Rhaegar said that he was to give birth to the prince who was promised.
Sure.
You know what I mean? So even he
if that turned him into a pedophile, so be it.
Even he felt as if that he wasn't the guy, that it was someone after him, one of his children.
Yeah, very true, very true. And I think that the reason Jon's name is Aegon is because I'm pretty sure Lyanna already knew that Rhaegar was dead, and Elia Martell was dead, and young Aegon was dead. So she named him Aegon because Aegon was a better name for a king or whatever. Right. So I think she named Jon Aegon in memory of his younger brother who was already killed that she knew about. That's why everybody needs to calm down about the whole two Aegon thing. Because I don't think Rhaegar expected a girl, not a boy.
Well, I mean, the whole two Aegon thing, you really can't say anything because there's like 4 of them.
Well, no, I'm talking about, it's like you're Chris and you have a brother named Chris.
I mean, I understand how it's
weird.
I understand how it seems like it was shitty writing. I get that.
Yeah.
I do get that.
If you think about it, though, she had to have known this by now.
But as far as the Targaryens go, the number one name is Aegon. That's the king of kings.
But they've never had 2 Aegons that were brothers ever living at the same time.
But there's never been...
From the same line. I mean, from the same male anyway.
But even still... I mean, there may have been other Aegon's cousins and,
sure,
whatever. But, I mean, even still with this, the Aegon, we're the first one, the Rhaegar's first child, that's from this marriage and this, whatever. Okay? That's now dissolved or whatever. This is its own separate marriage and all the other stuff. As far as we know, Lyanna may not even known the other kids' names. You know what I mean? Or we don't fucking know what the hell. Or because...
Well, everybody knew what the names were.
Or because they're dead, yeah, she decided that, that...
That's what I think the most... Like, that's what makes the most sense to me.
But you can't say... Like,
I'm not saying it's...
just the whole, like, oh, well, why would you name 2 Aegons? It's not like the kids are going to live in the same house.
Well, yeah, I mean...
that would... Because... You were thinking naming 2 brothers the same name, how normal brothers would grow up and live. You're again like thinking like with our world. You got to think in like their world. They're not. There's never going to be the 2 households. You know what I'm saying? Like this is going to be the true Aegon Targaryen. Especially if he was feeding her all these stories of Prince that was promised and all that kind of stuff.
The Tower of Joy. That's funny.
And there's no real telling. Well, no. They were killed. What
do you mean?
Rhaegar's kids were killed
by the mountain
prior to Jon being born.
I know.
Or Aegon being born.
I know.
So there is a very good chance she knows that that kid was dead.
It was way before Rhaegar was killed.
Yeah. So no. Yeah, I mean then there were again, like I say, it's not.
Ned showed up way
with,
after all that. Yeah.
You know, I don't see a problem with this kid being called Aegon Targaryen because
Neither do I.
the confusion is the other one's dead. You know.
Yeah. I mean, at first everybody was like, 2 Aegons is bullshit, but I'm like, think about it.
Yeah,
Think about why.
At the same time.
It was almost like out of respect, like hey, well, there doesn't exist anymore.
I don't think that's it though. I don't.
Okay,
think
maybe not out of respect, but
kid.
But we've heard Rhaegar say, or at least we've read, Aegon would better name for a king, right?
Well, that's just it. No, I don't think she named Jon Aegon out of respect for Rhaegar's first child. She named him Aegon after Aegon the Conqueror.
And because Rhaegar wanted a son,
I named Aegon so you can remember your other baby that got his head dashed against the wall. No, I named it Aegon after your ancestor who conquered Westeros as this child will.
And that your father always said that you should be, since you're going to be king and everything, because that's a great name for a king.
Yeah, but I don't think that Jon's naming and anything had anything to do with the first child. I think the first child was just, as soon as that kid got smashed against, I don't even think even before the kid got smashed against the wall, I think, the kid was just, another Targaryen hybrid, Martell mix.
Yeah.
There was really nothing special given to that kid. It wasn't like he was paraded and haunted over.
Too young, maybe.
No, I mean, but they're. I don't remember there being anything, because again, Rhaegar always thought the dragon had 3 heads.
That's true, and he was told that his wife could not give him another kid.
I'm not saying he didn't love the kid. I just don't think he.
Well,
you're the chosen one.
I'm thinking that he did what he felt he had to do, because she couldn't give him another kid. He had to have 3. And hey, why not the 15-year-old, I say. Sure. I'm kidding. So anyway, Chris, it's been awesome talking Game of Thrones again, man. I'm getting all pumped up again.
And we have a while.
Yes, we do. So, but I am in the middle of Stranger Things Season 2. Chris has already seen it. We are already arguing about this. But we'll get into it. We're going to get a more of a pat down schedule here with Chris and I doing these talks. We love to do them, and we're basically going to be like early in the week, and so we're going to nail that down. So because Chris's work schedule is, my work schedule is insanity, but if I cut out early, then I'm fine. But Chris finally nailed down a work schedule we can work around, so I think we're going to be able to put out more shows. I'm looking forward to it, brother. Mm-hmm. So rock on. So Chris, just been going out with a song like we've been coming in with it, brother. So until next time, man, looking forward to talking Stranger Things with you. And we still got that shit fuck movie to do. So right on.
Oh, God.
Yeah. Alien Covenant with Danny McBride and James Franco for 3 seconds. Right on, right on.
They might have split up or they might have capsized. They may have broke deep and took water. And all that remains is the faces and the names of the wives and the sons and the daughters. Lake Huron rolls, Superior sings in the rooms of her ice water mansion.
Lake Superior, got it.
Old Michigan steams like a young man's dreams.
Get
the islands and bays are for sportsmen.
Thanks, Lightfoot.
And farther below Lake Ontario takes in what Lake Erie can send her. The iron boats go as the mariners all know. With the gales of November, remember.
Enough about November this time. Man, what's Thanksgiving? Anything more like if you're a sailor, like, yeah. yeah, we're so close. Oh, don't worry, folks. We got another minute 15. Yeah.
In a musty
Well, Public
hall
Radio.
in Detroit, they prayed
You have to
in
accept this
the
guy.
Maritime Sailors Cathedral. The church bell chimed till it rang 29 times for each
Like, I
man
would've
of the Edmund
Phoenix
Fitzgerald.
has been killing me, dude. He records every
The legend
second.
lives on from the
And then he
Jabon
merges them all
down
and
of the
starts
big
playing
lake they
before.
call
So it
Gitche
sounds like I want to eat like shit or something. Some of the beginnings of our Twilight Zone episode sound absolutely insane. And you know I thought the same to begin with, but he puts it on the level. I think I'm learning how to play this tonight. Oh yeah, see you later, you fucks. Go away.